That's live now.
Yo, Pops Van Zant here. The Madness Comic Network is evolving into the Madness Roku Network. We're taking our stuff to Roku. We're joining great channels like the American Horrors channel. We're taking our stuff over there, guys. We love it over there. You're going to love what we bring you. We got some great shows, all kinds of different stuff. Come join the madness, yo. Madness Roku Network right here. Peace.
Hey guys, welcome back. We got the Creative Cranium going live on a Friday night. I'm really looking forward to talking to this panel tonight. So without further delay, I'm going to jump right in and introduce our group. Let's go around in a clockwise. We'll start with Mr. Phil Russertt. Phil, real quick, you and I know each other, but if you could introduce yourself, tell the audience who you are and what you're mostly known for.
So I'm a small indie publisher, Philbo Publishing, with about 4 or 5 titles out. My flagship title is Tragedy. That's got a Kickstarter going on right now. I'm an avid fan of comics, and I became one of the creators, and I'm just loving it. I love the community. I love getting the stuff out of my head and out on paper for people to enjoy. And the fact that even one person would want to buy it is humbling and fantastic.
It's a fun ride, isn't it?
Yeah.
So our next guest I met in Baltimore, and man, we got along great. I'm looking forward to learning more about the works of Stokes the Writer. Stokes, good to meet you, buddy.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, man, if you want to answer the same question, first, just tell the audience who you are and your work that you're mostly known for.
My name is Anthony Stokes. I've done Decay, Intrusive Thoughts, Tap or Die. You know, that's what I'm known for, you know, that and Twitter.
Yeah, man, congratulations. You're having a pretty good run.
Yeah, man, we got 2 more campaigns this year, so we're trying to cap it off.
Yeah, cool. We'll look forward to hearing a little bit more about your latest work. My next pal, we met for the first time in Baltimore. That's Dan Price. Welcome, Dan.
Hey, y'all. How you doing? My name is Dan Price. I am the creator of Bigfoot Knows Karate. That's the project I'm currently working on. And what's up?
Yeah, welcome, buddy. It's good to see you. And one of my all-time favorites, really no further introduction is needed. The queen of comics, Christie Shinn. How are you, Christie?
Oh, hi, I'm doing good. Constantly irritated and tired, so I guess that's par for the course. I'm the creator of Demon Bitch and the president of the Comic Art Professional Society. How's it going? I'm currently running a Kickstarter for a demon that's entirely too overpriced right now to even bother using, but whatever.
Well, I'm glad you brought it up because that's one of the things we want to try and talk about tonight, right? Like I've been struggling. What's the right price point for these books? And I would say generally, and I'm going to start by going a little bit old school, and then I want each of you guys to share your thoughts, which normally you'd have a 24-page book, which is going to run somewhere in that $4.99 range, generally about a $5, $6 price point. That's starting
PDF,
to change, right? Yeah, right. Digital, okay. Hopefully we'd get a little bit less than that. But, you know, I want to increase sales. I think we all want that. But the truth is I've got to increase my profitability, okay? And one of the ways that I want to do that is finding the sweet spot in the pricing. Phil, I'm going to start with you, buddy. We know that prices of things are going up. What is the sweet spot for selling a floppy? And maybe use the 24-page example roughly so we're on the same example. But I'd want to hear your thoughts on that and also what the digital should be.
Well, if we're talking crowdfunding Kickstarter, I don't think we can go by the same metric as a floppy in a comic store, and there's several reasons for that. The first is we're not doing print runs that are large where we're getting an 80-cent print. Our prints are $3, $4 at times, and I think Kickstarter backers understand that. The other thing is that's one of the reasons why we offer stretch goals and free incentives to offset some of what they're doing, what they pay for. But also just to understand that Kickstarter has kind of evolved and changed. It was supposed to be to kickstart a project. So what you're pledging isn't so much just for it's to create the product and hire the talent and professional work, which is an altogether different dynamic than me just going into a store and buying the latest issue of Batman. So honestly, I feel for a 24 page comic.
I knew what you meant.
I think $10 for Kickstarter is understandable, but there are things you can do to increase their profitability. Like you can include a bookmark or a trading card as the tier to say $12 or whatever the case may be. Because the truth is, our production costs are not really much better than any main publisher, but our budgets are much less. Our print runs are higher. So I think it's justifiable to say that you can't use the same metric as an LCS, a comic store, but there is a reasonable range as well. Like right now, I have my 220-page graphic trade paperback and a 280-page version, and I have big name covers: Chris Bachalo, Bill Sienkiewicz, and David Mack. Now, could I sit there and try to milk the audience for a $70 book? Probably. Do I think that's wise? No. Try to be modest and keep it down. So we did $35.55 for the 280-page.
That's not bad for the 200-page.
Yeah, I mean 280 pages is $55. So and with big names attached, and again, there's a fine line, and we have to cover our costs because we're not making money on this. We all know that, and when we do, we're just trying to throw it back into production on the next book.
Right, that's what most of us do. And I would hold that thought because we're going to do that a little bit more on the second question. But I always sometimes want to jump in and take the other side to make it a little bit more interesting. And I would remind us, I think some customers don't care how much our cost is or anything like that. It's not something that's in their thing. Some do, but definitely not all. Stokes, how about you, man? So what kind of price point do you have your products at? What kind of things work and don't work?
I think $10. So if you're talking about profitability, I think you have two options, Tim. I think you either could make a 20-page comic book. You could size it down, or you could do like volumes, like you could increase the size of it and then increase the price. Something that I did that was based off of what Pat Shinn does, which I'm having a lot of success with, is a digital deluxe PDF. So digital deluxe, like digital PDF, is just a comic book, digital copy.
What are you putting in the deluxe?
The deluxe can be, covers. I do interviews with my friend. It's just some bonus content, and I think people enjoy it. But I think it's a good way. I think it's a good way to not maybe do the bare minimum for a customer, and then you're not really making your margins worse, right? Like if you have if you're doing variant covers anyway, that's an expense. Sometimes I'll put in a cover for the next one, or if you have the next book ready, you can put in a preview for the next. It's really about keeping costs down. And then you think about it, like a PDF is $5 and digital deluxe is $10. You're doubling your profit from your PDF,
right?
Off of what it doesn't have to be an expense.
I went to I'm trying for the first time. I always do a $5, right? And that's generally I'm about a 40-page mark because we do some creator interviews. But then I'm going to do like a $15 version, which is like the digital palooza. Like you'll have all the volumes digitally for $15. I haven't done that before.
That's something that I'm doing. And I get a lot of those. Like I make more in total off of the deluxe than the digital. And I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but if you were to do a digital catch-up, people will back, if the digital catch-up's like 10 or 15, people will back the digital catch-up even if they have the issue 1 because they want to support. They don't want to just throw the $5. So I think that's a way around it. Otherwise, I think 24 pages, I think it's really about what are you putting in these books, I think the solution is always make a better product. Generally speaking, how I feel about it, like get a book or create a book or a product that even if you raise the price, people can't resist it. So what's up, Joey?
Yeah.
And also, I think some consumers don't care about the expenses, and I think some consumers don't even care about the price. Like I think if you were to drop a PDF from $5 to $4, I don't think that would increase sales necessarily.
Yeah.
Or 5 to 6. Well, I think 5 looks better. No, I think 5 looks better, and
I do think consumers are smart enough to know too that whatever your price point is it a gimmick? Are you trying to milk them, or are you putting it into quality product? They can tell. I mean, these are people that have been backing, this super backers all over the place. They've been campaigning, backing campaigns. I think at this point with Kickstarter, most of the backers are fully aware of who deserves that price point and who's just trying to milk them.
Right.
Exactly.
So let's jump over to Dan. So Dan, and by the way, we just met, right? Like I'm just starting to follow your work. I thought it was terrific, man. And you came highly recommended to me by a couple of friends. So thanks so much first for coming on.
Oh, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
In your case, like, first of all, are you roughly in the same page count for your books? Like, is it a 24-page book? Tell us about that. And then what is your price point?
Yeah, no, for Big Fitness Karate issue 1, I did 30 pages full color. For issue 2, I did 36 pages full color. For this book that we're doing now, Inagon, it is 26 pages, and that's black and white. So for our prequel book, we decided to shift it black and white for the issue. It just made sense for the artist. But so I generally charge $9-10 for a color comic on Kickstarter, and we're doing 8 for the black and white book because it's less pages and it's a black and white comic, so it's costing us less to print. And then that, I mean, look, in this economy, forget about it, right? I mean, any way we can help make it a little easier for the consumer, we will. Stokes was talking about a deluxe edition digital version. Something that we started doing with Big Fitness Karate 1 was a regular edition, the regular 30-page story, and then we did a deluxe edition, print version. And the difference was for the regular version, you got the regular 30-page story, and the deluxe, it's you get an art gallery because we've received like a really great amount of fan art. So we put 10 pages of artwork in the back, as well as do you remember like director's commentaries on DVDs?
Oh yeah. I love that stuff, by the way.
Oh yeah,
I'm the type of customer that, like, when you talk about certain customers, and sometimes you release a Kickstarter and you never hear anything back, and it's very frustrating. But lately, customers are starting to engage, right? And I'm very pleased about that. And a couple of them have said to me, "Hey, I really like when you guys do that. We always do a meet the creators, and it has like their photographs and it says a little bit about the team." I was kind of surprised by that because we do all kind of bonus art and galleries and all this stuff. But the thing that the people liked the most were the meet the creators, and the music does pretty good for us.
Yeah, no, I mean, like the art galleries seem to do good, and then we do you take the QR code there, and that gives you our director's commentary roundtable discussion video. So
go ahead, Dan, do that again. I got you on the big screen.
All right, hold on, let me find the page again.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's Dan Price with Bigfoot Knows Karate. Oh,
there
yeah, that's very nice.
Yeah, so you here we go. So you click the QR code, and it takes you to our director's commentary roundtable like discussion.
Oh, that's really cool idea, man.
About the comic.
Yeah.
And so it's more pages, you get more artwork and all of that. So we charge a premium rate for that book. So while we're doing $8 for the black and white 26-page book, we're going to do $15 for the deluxe edition. Okay.
Right. Is that the high? What's your? Let me tack this little question on. What's your highest price point in your Kickstarter, book-wise? Not like if it's coaching or something.
Book-wise, yeah. It's just for a single issue, $25 for the foil.
Gotcha. So you do a foil. Okay. Yeah, hold on to that one because I'm going to ask everybody next about what the Kickstarter upgrades are. Well, let's jump over to Christie. So Christie, you have a bunch of different ways to buy your product. What are the ones that worked for you and which didn't work? Like, do you do better digitally? What works for you?
Well, I think it's like this because I have such kind of a different sort of subject matter. And it's funny because everybody in the world was telling me like, oh, well, I don't know. It's kind of weird. You know, it's a niche thing. I'm like, oh, well, I'm always working with niche things. What I found is that I just did across the board because I just didn't want to keep track of every single PDF as a price thing. I just did $5 per PDF. Like, okay, here's a small investment. Check it out. It's not much of an investment to me. It's not much of an investment to you. You don't need to pay shipping. You don't need to go and actually like, you know, commit to an actual physical
This
book.
is digital now. Okay.
Digital, just digital PDF.
Okay. And so what comes in that, what comes in your base package for $5?
Just $5. Like right now I'm kickstarting 2 books. It's the Pen 15 here, which is making a meme off the penis here thing with Demon Bitch. That's a regular graphic novel. And then I have a kid's book called Demon B Meets Mr. F Word, because that's just kind of a long and a hilarious story in itself. And that is $5. So every one of my books that I've written and drawn myself. So I create my own books in this for my Kickstarters. And what I offer is that add-ons are my own books that I've written and drawn. So, you know, I offer the PDFs like of all the books I've ever done. So like what I'll have as the highlight is now that we have add-ons, I'll do, you know, okay, $5 for this one, $5 for Pen 15, and then $5 for the kids book. But then for another $5 a piece, you could do add-ons of all my other books if you want to check it out. But to make it simpler, I mean, there's no shipping, so it doesn't really matter either way. There's like there's like a reward for all my books. So just, they don't have to click through every single one of them. Right. So it's either way, like that's an interchangeability there. Number 2, what I actually do like to do is that if they like say, okay, I know I like this book, I've been meaning to get this, but I want to get the digital, they can do that as an add-on too. And for my books, I'll offer one a paperback, the signed paperback. So I'll personalize all the paperbacks, right?
Oh, nice.
And then, yeah. And then on the other hand, the thing is that I have all the other paperbacks available that will be signed and personalized to you guys once you guys buy the books. Because sometimes, and then I have like actually a tier where it has all my books, all my paperbacks. So it's not like you have to pick every single one. But I don't try to like make every combination that we used to have to in Kickstarter. Now that add-ons make it simpler so you could showcase it.
Right, right.
And I always try to put interesting stories behind my merchandise. As for figuring cost, I look at it this way. I look at the cost of how to manufacture a product. Then I figure it like times it by 2 or 3. Because not only are you figuring in profit margin and manufacturing, you're also figuring in the shipping that you have to do too.
Can I see a quick question about that, Christie? Because you said something that sticks out to me. So first of all, I love it that you personalize all the books. That's a great reason to get one of your personal ones. And I assume sometimes you might remark them too or something like that. Is that a tier?
Well, I just go ahead and just sign them just as a default. I don't do it like, it's for an extra one. Like everything that I have of artwork, I have gotten signed by the original artist, or that the only thing that is actually original that I would say is special is that if the artist says, hey, I'm offering an original piece. But other than that,
well, my question is about this, because I'm always worried if I'm missing the boat, right? Because one of the things I do is I switch. Some of the people now switch to professional fulfillment, right? And first, let me just quick say, I'm real satisfied with it. Dan Wright, Comics Wellspring hooks us up. They take care of me. They're a great partner for me.
Yeah, me too.
But it's not the cheapest way. I obviously spend a little bit more money, and I'm missing something important. I've lost the element to personalize every book.
Yeah.
Some people really go for the signed books. Do you still sell them unsigned?
Well, you can sell them unsigned. So one example for one of my tiers that's unsigned that I've learned because I've become friends with some LCS local comic stores is that I did a retail package. So the retail package is like 6 of my books unsigned sent directly from the printer to them. It's going to cut down costs, and I cut like $5 off each book to give them kind of an incentive to get some money back. And I have one where it's like one or the other or both. But then I also say, hey, if it's a local comic shop, let me know. I'll come over and sign it. If you're out of state, I can't do it. But if you offer to guest me, I'll totally do it. So either way, I try to make it work for them. But, it's actually worked. So I just put in a retail tier as well. Nice. So that's the only way you can get it unsigned. If you don't want to have it signed, just tell me in the notes when I do the survey. But most of the times I just write.
And I didn't mean that somebody would necessarily request it unsigned. And like I say, I'm still finding my way. But what I've been doing is, I send a big batch that's professionally fulfilled, and I keep something like 30 to 40 here because I do some other small things like the wood carvings and anything in the posters, anything like that. I fulfill myself, and then I do. When I say sign it, what I do is I send a little postcard, And maybe I even know something about the person, or if they back before, I'll be like, hey man, thanks for coming back, that kind of thing. But
Yeah.
Christie mentioned retail. So I want to talk about that real quick. I'm going to change directions real quick with Phil and kind of steer over to retail. First, Phil, do you have a retail package on your Kickstarter?
I had done it before. I don't anymore.
Okay, can you tell us a little bit why?
Because I'm going to go to distribution. And
what do you mean by that? What do you mean by that?
I'm going to be going through Diamond and or Lunar, and getting into local comic shops. I won't, I'm not going to get into the reasons now, but so for me to do a retail on a Kickstarter right now would be kind of competing against myself at the point that I.
Sure. Hey, and a quick heads up. I one thing I forgot to tell this group, and I always tell everybody, sometimes I ask kind of probing questions. Like that's one of the things that's kind of how I try to figure it out. So you don't have to answer something if it's about your pricing.
No, it's fine. I just don't want to go into a long diatribe of why I'm doing that, because that's not what the show's about. Well,
thanks for saying that. But your information is always very valuable. I want you to know that. The distribution. So do you like some of the arrangements through Diamond and Lunar still?
Diamond asks for a large percentage, and that's an issue. Lunar asks for a lot less. Lunar also gets you in bookstores, where Diamond is strictly to LCS. But everybody thinks it's one or the other. Why can't you go through both and be through both and let the comic stores order you through whichever distributor they prefer to choose? Yeah. Because the downside to Lunar is Lunar has its own store. So some
you're
LCS,
talking about Midtown now?
No, Lunar has its own digital store, a website store. And what happens
DBS or whatever? DCBS?
I forgot the name of it.
Yeah.
But what happens is some LCS feel they're competing against the LCS and they don't want to use Lunar.
Yeah, I get
it. Then some LCS don't like Diamond because they feel there's shipping issues or whatever the case may be. Mm-hmm. So we always think it's got to be either or. You can go with, most likely, I mean, it's not like I'm going to be signed to an exclusive, right? I'm little nobody. So there's no reason why I can't go through both distributors and let the LCS decide which distributor they choose to pick me through. Right. A lot of the reasons why I have these big name variants is because I want to do the ratio variants when I go to distribution. It's not necessarily about the Kickstarter for me. It's about the future. Yeah. And real quick, real quick. Another thing I do to offset costs for people is anybody who backs over a certain amount of money. In this case, for my campaign, if you back over $80, they get entered into a raffle after the show, and they get a Sean Chen cover with a remark from him for free.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
And signed. So
cool.
I try to do little giveaways like that, to show appreciation to the people that.
Hey, Phil, I'm going to can I put you on stage real quick? Can you show one more time? I'm going to put you on.
Sure.
Yeah. I'm trying to improve on that. So, that's nice, buddy. Yeah. Dude, that's really cool.
Yeah, and I didn't go for just a cheap sketch. I told him, I said, I want a detailed remark. So you got the signature, and then it comes with a COA from my company. And it's a little way of giving back. And at the same time, people say, okay, you know what? He understands what we're giving, that we're working hard for this money and we're pledging it to him. Because I want them to understand that. We all work jobs that we can't stand during the day. And our money is tight, especially now in this economy than ever. And I want the backers and the supporters to know that without them I don't have this. So thank you. And
you have some good fans and you have some great art on your book.
I do have some very loyal fans that appreciate the reading, and that because Kickstarter is more of a collector market now than a reader's market. That's the problem with comics. And if gaining readership is tough. Collectability is easier with the medals and the foils and the big name variants and the booby covers and all that. But if you're a creator, like everyone here seems to be, that is trying to put out
a story
that they want to tell, that they want to share, it's very difficult for us.
That's deep water. So let's jump over to Stokes, because I want to hear his 2 cents on this. So let's real quick, Stokes, on the retail front, when you have a Kickstarter, do you put something out there to entice a retail package?
No, I don't. I think it just muddies up the campaign. I think.
What do you mean? Tell me, expand on that a little bit.
It's another reward, right? So you got your digital. For me personally, I think Dan. I want to speak for Dan, but I think Dan does primarily one series. Well, let me just speak generally. Some creators only do one series, or they mainly. I have 4 or 5 series that I'm working on. So, you have to have digital and then So I try to keep as little rewards as possible. So like a retailer, it doesn't really. I don't know. Aesthetically, I can't get with it. And I also believe at this point, I'm having these conversations with people. And Phil mentioned the collector's market. I believe in making the book. I believe in making a book for the market or the platform that you have in mind, right? So like, if you're gonna make something that's for Kickstarter, make for Kickstarter. You know, do the collector thing, do the foils, do like the boobies or whatever. You know, that's my perspective anyway. If you're going to try to go to the direct market, then do that stuff. And I understand totally, like, you know, putting eggs in different baskets. For my approach, I want to do the best. I want my book and Kickstarter to do the best for Kickstarter. And then, like, if I'm going to direct market, I want to do the best for direct market. If I'm trying to get picked up by a publisher, trying to, you know, et cetera, et cetera.
Gotcha. Hey, and I'm going to, since Phil kind of shared his thoughts on that, let's do the same thing with you, go off topic a little bit. Let me ask this the right way. There's kind of two plans of attack, as you know, right now, which one camp is, you know, they build mammoth Kickstarters and they keep trying to get bigger and bigger. And then other people, you know, they try to complete the finished product and then they pitch them completed to publishers in the hopes of going through Diamond or to back into an LCS. What's your thoughts on that? Do you pick one of the two, or what do you think?
I mean, I think it all depends. You know, I try to, being a newer creator, I've only been doing this for 3 years. I try to stay very flexible. You know, I try to stay super, like, not having to lean into one way or the other too much. So, what were the two options? I'm sorry.
Well, basically, you could, you know, like if you talk to like a Charlie Stickney or Pat Shannon, they'll say something like, "Hey, don't worry too much about the store. Keep building your following. Pretty soon you'll be having, you know, 6-figure Kickstarters." I'm exaggerating a little bit to make the point. But the other option would be, hey, and Phil does it this way, and I kind of do it this way. When we have a finished product, we're pitching it to other publishers, and you get submitted into comics.
Well, you could publish yourself through distribution, cut out.
Yeah, that's a little bit harder to do with Diamond, I've noticed, but you know, you can do it. Yeah.
I don't think it would preclude you from doing either one, really.
You could do both. Yeah.
You could do both. I would say that, like I said, I think going back to what I said earlier, like I'm really trying to be, if I'm doing a Kickstarter book, I want to be good. I do want to do great on Kickstarter. Like, I'm not really worried about the direct market at that point, you know. But if you can just package it together and a publisher will take it, why not? You know, like it's about whatever works, I feel like.
Yeah, good point. Like, you know, I'm like, you know, I still submit, like I got a couple of really small publishing deals that I make a couple $100 on. Like I don't have any barn burners, but you know, I feel like I got to do it to get credibility, and that's how you get on Comic Vine and this kind of thing. But like the Kickstarters now, like I'm starting to see it's like, I'm doing much better with when I do it on my own, I do much better, like noticeably better. Now I haven't done what Phil's suggesting, which is because I have enough titles too now to have published as come swinging in as a publisher, but they got a ceiling on that, right? It's like 6,500 copies. It's hard to get paid on that deal, kind of.
Not with Diamond.
No.
Okay. They're picking up people that are having 800 print runs to start, etc.
Oh.
You gotta keep
well,
in mind,
I stand corrected. See, that's how I try and learn things, because it used to be 6,500.
No, Diamond just lost how many big companies? They're looking to make.
What I was gently
it's a different
suggesting.
Climate.
Phil, please don't take this as me piling on Diamond. You guys know I used to work for Diamond. I was in the comic business.
Oh wow.
And they're in a little bit of a tough shape, man.
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
They are still selling their statues and things like that too. Though
right. They're going to be
a distributor. They're not.
Toy company.
But you know, real quick, and I'm sorry, and I know you have to get to other people. Just keep in mind, Kickstarter is probably the better way to make money coming out of the gate. Distribution is the long-term plan, because on a bad distribution, you can get 800 to 1,000 purchases. On a great Kickstarter, you get 300 to 400, but they are paying more per book. So you probably get, you know, it's going to be a struggle in distribution.
I think you're going to find those two might balance out a little closer than you think.
But either way, with distribution, if you're going to a publisher and you're paying them on top of the 60% to Diamond, you're walking away probably at a loss on your books. I mean, that's just the truth in the beginning.
I'll tell you guys, I don't mind. I don't have the hang up of like, I like to sort of tell you, because I think a clear thing we can all learn a little bit. My publishing deal, I'm 10% on everything over 6,500. Under 6,500, I'm on a page rate. So it's a good deal if I was to sell 10,000 books a month. But here's the unfortunate part for me.
Yeah.
You know, Timothy Fling doesn't sell 10,000 books a month. I've never even hit the 6,500, not even one time. So I've got to find two things. I've got to find a way to hit 6,500. And I've got to find a way to also publish my own stuff, like Phil suggesting.
Because there's also the momentum thing, right? If you roll a snowball down a hill, it'll become a boulder eventually. And with Kickstarter, I mean, some people are circumventing it, but you're doing what, 4 a year? It's hard to build.
I wish. I struggle to hit 3 a year. I'll probably
do 6 a year.
It's tough to hit momentum on that.
You do 6 this year, Stokes? Holy crap! Listen, Dan, I didn't forget you, but I got to ask Stokes this one. So, how do you keep your momentum? You must have everything written ahead of time, and you're just now publishing it.
Yeah, so I'm working on a book, like a book I'm releasing in March of next year. I started in February. I like I said, I mean, it's about being like, yeah, I write in advance. I have people start in advance. I have my schedule, which changes. It's fluid, but all that stuff in advance. It's just preparation. But that's the benefit of being a writer. I feel like, you know, like
you can get a head start.
You get a head start. I think the writer, and I'm not an artist, so I could maybe the artists on the panel can tell you, but I think like the writers, we incur more of a financial risk, and then we're able to do like more stuff, right? We're not beholden to like I know Dan draws with his fingernail, like so like I know it's like very labor intensive, but I think the maybe the benefit of being a artist is that, you know, like your currency is effort and time. You know, so I mean, it's kind of, you know, pick your poison, I suppose. But yeah, I want to do 6 because I want to build up my back catalog essentially, and like just try to like try new stuff as well, see what works.
Huh. Well, first of all, I'm impressed by that. That you know, 6 a year, I would struggle to do something like that. But so let's jump over to Dan. So Dan, how many Kickstarters do you do a year? I kind of want to know now.
Well, I'm like on an annual. I mean, seriously, I don't do more than one a year usually.
Yeah, these guys are making us look like slackers, Dan. We got to get cracking.
Yeah, you know, now I'm not the artist on this particular book right here, but no, it takes me a while to draw on the Bigfoot regular series. So, you know, but yeah, I feel the brunt that Stokes was just talking about because I'm not doing the artwork on this book. On the one shot, I incur a financial risk, you know, meaning that we have to raise more money to cover that rather than I'm free as an artist. It doesn't cost me a dime for me to draw. It's just time. And so it really is a flip of a coin, whether you're going to incur the financial risk of bringing an artist on or you're going to take the time to draw. It really just depends on the project, doesn't it?
Well, yeah, and let me ask you this. So we kind of jumped off the retail question. Do you do a retail package for Bigfoot Knows Karate? Okay.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that package.
Yeah, I did one last campaign. It went pretty well. In fact, after the campaign, I got more retail orders than I did during the campaign. I found that really funny. But yeah, no, this time around I'm doing a retail package at $75. And you get 5 copies of 1, 5 copies of 2, 5 copies of the one shot, and then a foil cover as a chase cover type thing.
Okay. And what's the how much was? Do you mind if I ask how much was that package?
Yeah, $75 for that.
70, so that's not bad. Does that include the shipping?
No, that doesn't include shipping. But it's a flat rate. It's a flat rate box, so it's not that bad.
Gotcha. And so, how many books is in that package?
16, including the foil chase cover.
Yeah. That's about what I did too. That's about.
You squeeze that Gemini mailer and do some media mail.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Hey, which by the way, we talk about that. Sometimes they're cracking down on the media mail.
Really?
Yeah, I had 2 come here. They were both Kickstarters, and they wouldn't drop them off. I had to go to the post office, and it was only like 60 cents or something I owed, but they wouldn't give it to me without the 60 cents. So I don't know. When I send them out media mail, and I've never had a problem with my customers.
I
but I
never had a
guess
problem
it's
either.
yeah.
I
So
use-
I never
I
have
do-
that issue with anybody.
Yeah, Christy, are you media mail?
Yeah.
I do mostly media mail and bag and board. And the thing is that also a lot of my books are really how they're printed. They're very durable. Like they're actually, I use Amazon to print them. And now maybe some people go boo hiss, but I look at it this way: with the paper shortages, with all these other shortages, issues with small printers, and I'm not dogging them. They had to take care of whatever they needed to survive. But I found Amazon had a lot of less supply chain issues and quality drops, because I had nightmares from friends that had to like scramble to get another printer because they just completely went out of business or dropped the ball after the Kickstarter. So for me, it's like I just like just going with one distributor, which is Amazon. And the thing is that also because of Amazon, I could just go and drop ship my books somewhere if I go like somewhere else, like out of the country or whatever, or at least that's the experimentation. So I'm looking at the
Have
wide
you
range of
done
things.
any of the overseas printing?
I have not done any of the overseas printing. I'm kind of not really wanting to pull the trigger on that much, because when there were issues with the shipping chains where it was taking impossibly long times for people to get anything out of seas. Now, the thing is that if it's shipped in, that was when it was a problem. But when it was air mailed in or airlifted in and sent in, like via airmail, you were fine. So if I did enamel pins and they came from overseas, that was fine. It was on a plane. But anything regarding that needed a shipping container or whatnot, that would be having to be shipped in, and that took months. Also, the thing is that in my house, I have a house, I store my product, but it's like the amount of what I would have to buy, I'd have to rent a storage shed. So what I like is print on demand, like I'll print an X amount of books. So this current Kickstarter is printing X amount of this much amount of pen is here, and then Demon B meets Mr. F word and whatever the merchandise, and it'll be shipped to me and I can keep it in my home at a time. That way I don't need to pay rent. I don't need to do anything. And I pay for it right there. And also if I have to pay for sales tax for printing the books, it's already on my taxes and I can write it off for whatever, because they can't ding me for that. So on a lot of levels, it's advantageous. Yeah, it's more of an initial investment, but for me, it's actually a long-term savings. And I view Kickstarter as a combination. I always take a bite-in or try-in approach, at least in every aspect. Like it has to have several modes of interaction. Like with Kickstarter, for me, it's not only funding the book, but it's also growing my base, because Kickstarter specifically has these algorithms to jump it up. And not only that, but I sell my books also when I go to cons, and I have an online store. So this actually adds more visibility in general. So I'm willing to go through everything. I have not hit distribution yet. I don't find it worth it at this point right now for me, but it doesn't mean I won't ever. It's just I'm not at that point right now where it's viable for me.
What do you think, Christy, about let's do a quick lightning round here for Joey. What if we'll start with Christy, since that's where we were. What if we see too many creators doing similar things? This is a great question. How do you stand out above the rest with your price points? What do you do if there's too many doing the same thing? Which, by the way, on Kickstarter is a great question, because now let's face it, there's a lot of us in the water over on Kickstarter. Christy, what do you do to stick out?
I don't follow what's trending. Like for me, I don't do chromium covers. I don't do foil covers. I don't have a problem with those personally. But for me and how I print Demon Bitch, it's going to be a pain in the butt to actually go and do variant covers. What I do is more economically. Like what it is that for one of the selling points of my graphic novels, I know, right, Glenn? You got to go check out the Kickstarter. You mentioned my name. You have to do that. So this is what I mean. So it's like I go on there. And so one of the selling points on Pen 15 is that Mog Park. She's the official illustrator of Game of Thrones. And I have Real Deal, Lawrence Raw Dog Hubbard, who's a good friend of mine. They're contributing prints. They contribute artwork to the book. It's fan art. So it's kind of great, because at cons, like if they're at a con, I said, oh, go to their table. They'll sign it. But here's the thing. I also offer high quality archival cotton fiber prints at $30 a piece, and I'll have it signed by the actual artist and have them sell it. And the benefit for the artist is like, look, I'll give you the copy of the book if you're in it. And number two, whatever prints, because I'll print a little excess, because prints are actually not that expensive to print in general if you know how to do it with that high quality. I will give the rest of the prints to the artist and say, you sell them or do whatever you need to do with them. Just don't sell them below MSRP. What we did it like, so each of the prints are $30 a piece. And that's another selling point for the artist. So I make it kind of like, even though it's not like, oh, I'm going to go and give you all this money for it. And I'm an artist too. So it's not like, oh, well, you work for me for free and I'll give you royalties. No, but they know that I will promote the living shit out of them if I need to.
And it's
at a
fair to
con.
say, Christie, so you stick out a little bit already. And I mean that in the best way. But one of the best known personalities in the comics business, a Ringo Award winner.
Yeah, for this, let me show you this one.
Yeah. Hey, look, I look. If it was me, I'd mention it every 10 seconds, Christie. So you live your
right
moment.
here.
Yeah, you're so cool.
Actually, it was the funny thing. Here's the most uncool thing. When they told me about, I had just like literally spent 2 years in comics and I was just working to make my way up. And then the editor called me and said, "Oh yeah, we won a Ringo Award," because she posted online. I'm like, that's cool. So I went on Wiki and said, "What's the Ringo Award?" And I'm like, so that was really awesome. So there you go.
Well, congratulations on that. But let's go around and answer Joey's question. Phil, how about you? This is a good one for you. You know, Christie answered it kind of going back to what you said the first time, which is having the element of quality that really kind of stands out. I would say, Phil, you've got that pretty nailed down. You're well known for working with high name artists and so forth. But what would you do if you see creators doing similar things? How do you stand out?
Well, I do try to think outside the box, like the contest for the Sean Chen cover and things like that. Maybe I shouldn't say this, but yes, you have the Kickstarter platform, but you can use that to do things outside, like this contest, for example, that aren't necessarily done on the campaign, but can be done as a result of the campaign afterwards. So there's thinking out of the box like that. But Stokes had said in Don't Call Me Blurred and Christie, truth is, at the end of the day, we don't dictate the price in the sense that the fans do, the supporters do. They're going to tell you if it's worth $1 or not. Right. So you have to just give them a whether you do metal, foil, whatever, at the end of the day, it's either quality or it's not, because the worst art on the worst story, you could foil the hell out of it. It's not going. And I really do think that's the answer. But you can think outside the box using Kickstarter as the platform, but you can do things as a result of Kickstarter as well, not just on Kickstarter itself.
So here's a quick interaction real quick, and I don't want to take up anybody else's time, but when I've gone to cons, that's how I learned how to price things. I would just kind of walk around when I used to just attend cons, and I was just walking around and I just kind of see how everything was priced and what went and what didn't go. Like, ironically, the really cheap shit didn't go all the time, unless it was stickers or something. Or
if it's
maybe
too
prints,
cheap, it works against you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like some people were selling prints for 10 and they weren't selling shit, but when they marked it up like $5 or over, they were like, yeah, they were moving like hotcakes. So there's like
value.
Yeah, and it's like this. Like, so for me, I don't bother with floppies because for me, it's not profitable by the means that I need to do it, and the stress-wise and the time out of me. So like, I'll price my books like, okay, this is how much the printing cost is. But what have I seen of a graphic novel, like the quality of paper and like the art quality and all that. And looking at those, it's like, oh, okay, it's like $30 and up. You know, some of the books like that don't have as many pages, I'll price down to 20 if it makes sense. But the higher it goes, you know, the more pages, etc. Like I have a hardcover that's like 45, and then Triggered is like there's a soft cover and a hardcover of Triggered, so the soft cover is 35, but it's 137 pages, which I signed. So, but I mean, I've had feedback when people have actually touched my books. They said, "Oh, this is really nice" and everything. But again, I carry that pricing onto there. But I've also observed just how people shop in general.
Well, in 130 pages is a good amount of content. That's a good talking about. So Stokes, I think I left off with you. How about you? Like, so you see creators doing something that's similar to you. How do you make your work stand out? How do you with your price? I think we all know the answer is not to be the cheapest. I think we already established that.
Yeah, I mean, just make the best product, you know? Like, I think that's the thing. Like I said, if you can, it depends, you know, it's about finding value. You know, if you have a great looking comic book, you could sell a floppy for like $20 if it's 24 pages. If you have like incredible art, you know, it's about finding the price point that works for you. I think
I've been testing the water a little bit, and I'll just share a little bit from the last campaign because I always said, hey, I'm the writer. I'm not going to do variant covers. You can imagine how ignorant that was to say that at the time. You know, so for the last campaign, there was 4, and I keep stretching. What will somebody do? And we did like a real limited one, a printable hollow foil that was really neat. And we sold like, I guess, 50 couple. It was maybe a little over 50, but that was a $30 book.
Oh my God, that's incredible. Yeah. So yeah,
but it was at its core. It's actually like 36. It's 36 pages. but so it's almost giant size, but the regular issue price it's a $7 book. And then we kept notching it up. Like one has chrome, one has a lot of chrome, one is printable hollow foil. Like, see how far the customer will go. And of course, we sell sets too. So let's jump over to Dan. How about you, buddy? So if creators are, first of all, again, the same thing with you. Bigfoot knows karate, right? It kind of sticks out before you even know anything about it. That's kind of how I noticed you. But if you see creators doing similar things, how do you stand out from the rest?
I mean, just try and come in with the most original idea possible, I guess, or a different hook or something like that than, most. Yeah, we have a really good title. You know what I mean? It's in terms of, it does grab your attention. But, try and do something different artistically. This is not, I personally cannot draw a realistic style. The style that Adam Caswell's using in this has definitely got more of a kind of a fantasy vibe to it. So do something a little different, from that standpoint. Trying to stand out on Kickstarter, having your social media down pat is really a good thing. We do a lot of like live launches on Instagram, which I find
I saw
is
that.
really
How did that go? How did that go?
Oh, it went great. We've done this is our third one. I funded $1,000 project in 7 minutes. Doing it on the live launch like that. We asked for more money this time. It took us a little longer. But we ended up funding in 24 hours on this current,
Nice.
and that was asking for 2,400. So the live launches really do help out. We just get a lot of interaction from the Instagram audience, and like I may have said this already. We've received a lot of fan art. The community got really jazzed about what we were doing, and I'm so unbelievably
that's really cool, man.
Grateful for that.
Dan, congratulations about that. Because I've noticed that people, they dig Bigfoot Knows Karate. Customers really dig it, right? And I'm really thrilled to see that you're having so much success with it. So, like I say, first thing, man, congratulations. That is a really cool title. And it kind of goes with the idea of having an original thing, right? So, I guess, go ahead.
Oh, no. It's shocking to me and humbling and just all that stuff at the same time, because it's like.
So I want to tie. Let's tie a question into that, which is,
please.
Like one of the things that we all have to improve at is the ways that we get our customer back time after time. Like one of the things that I try to do the most is to get those same people back. Here's why. If we were in a company that was selling soap or toothpaste or something, we all know that once you get the customer the first time, it's like you already got your foot in the door. You got to keep them on the hook, right? So when you go to the second one, and now we've all done what, about 5 or 6 Kickstarters each?
About right, yeah.
3. Phil, how many you done?
12.
12. Okay, so you probably the most. Stokes, how many Kickstarters you done?
7.
7. Okay. So we're all pretty close, I guess. But so let's start with Phil. What is a technique that you would use to bring the customer back? And remember, what we're focusing is not things being cheaper. In Phil's words, what would we do to build the perceived value of our product? What kind of things might you add? And this could be stretch goals or any kind of concept you might have.
For me, it's 2 things. One, like you said, I work with a lot of well-known names in the industry. Look, everything is perception. People back winners, right?
Yeah.
And as long as you're working with people that are winners, they lump you in with them. And so they see that I'm putting this effort and this time and I'm working with these people. They want to come back because they invest in me, they invest in those artists, but also it's investing in other people. If you're one of these campaigns that's all about pledge on me, pledge on me, pledge on me, and you're not giving back to the community and you're not investing in the community in some way yourself, I don't think you have a lot of longevity. So it's not just about coming this way. You got to throw a little that way too, and like, for example, someone just messaged me during this interview. They never received their items from the last campaign, and I shipped it out over 6 weeks ago. I'm going to send them everything again, no questions asked. I'm not going to sit there and say, now they're a trusted, loyal customer who backs every campaign I do, and I'm going to eat the cost of that and send it to them because they're a loyal customer. I mean, why wouldn't you? Some people be like, no, you got to pay the shipping, or tough luck. It's not that person's fault either. And at the end of the day, I want to reward and appreciate the people that are supporting me.
Good call, man. Customer service is a good one. Keep that on the burner too. We'll ask some more about that. Stokes, how about you, man? So you got multiple projects. First, I'd want to know how many people have been following you project to project. I'm guessing yours is probably pretty high. And the second thing is, what kind of things do you do to entice them? And it could be anything: early bird backer, they get this, like what, but anything that the answer is not making something cheaper. Because I know some people say, hey, you give them a bonus edition in the first 48 hours and it's less expensive. But let's keep cheaper off the plate for right now.
Early bird specials are good. I use Kickstarter Launch, which alerts all your previous backers about your campaign. When I fulfill a campaign, I make a postcard with the preview of the next campaign and a QR code for the next campaign with the pre-launch code on it as well. And I think ultimately, having a quality, with the emphasis on story, hopefully people are on the edge of the seat when you're reading a comic book as well. So they want to they're get them enthralled with the story. And then Joey asked a question. I thought he said something about the campaign going stale. I guess we can come back to that.
No, yeah, let's get him too. I'm trying to make sure I get everybody's links in there too. Here we go. So yeah, I tell you what, if you want to jump in there too, Stokes, when you notice a campaign going stale, how do you adjust to keep the interest of backers? That's a great question.
I think this might be, I don't know, I feel I've had this conversation before, and with Joey specifically, is I don't think there's much you can do to change the trajectory of your campaign once you launch. I think you should do most of the promotion for your campaign before the campaign even launches. Mm-hmm. So having everything lined up, you got your podcast lined up, you got, your stretch goals, etc., and having all that stuff in place, you got your pre-launch followers up, because, one, as was pointed out, once you run that campaign, you're out of energy. I know I got bags under my eyes. I'm not even live yet. So I think it's overstated how much promotion can help during a campaign, and I get why some people would disagree. I think it's a scary thought that hey, I could launch and do everything under the sun and not get, the attention. I think it starts before that. I think it starts with having the variants, having great interior art, and doing that before. That's how you avoid your campaign getting stale, even before you launch.
Right. You got to take care of the freshness before the campaign even goes live.
Can I interject for 1 second?
Yeah, go ahead.
I agree with you about the pre-campaigning, but I do respectfully disagree in the sense that when it goes dead in the middle, you can add content like a one-of-a-kind offshoot of something, but also print up some flyers, go to local comic stores, have them give them out in each bag with a QR scan on it. And believe it or not, you'll see.
It's a pretty good idea.
There are things that can be done. It's like you said, to a degree, your trajectory. So I agree with that. But I do think you can do some things to make minor boosts, a couple of $100 here or there, in the middle of the campaign. I would just hate to feel hopeless. It gnaws at you, right? You're like, oh my God, nobody's backed in a day, and you got to do something. It just, I'm not one to accept fate.
I agree with you 100%. And you're right. You shouldn't just accept defeat. But I guess there's not to say there's nothing you can do, right? Because you can, if you're at a con, you can have a QR code, and I think that'll bring people to the page.
Right.
But just to reiterate, not disagreeing either. Make sure that you don't have any lulls in your campaign before you even launch. Like I said.
Agreed.
Plug the holes in the boat.
So here's another thing that kind of happens organically with me in every campaign. Sometimes this started off once because I helped somebody with their Kickstarter graphics, and they said you know what, let's go and port yours users into mine with our updates every so often, since we've both invested into this. I've also worked Rob Christgau, he had me do a pinup for his Turner Family Terrors. He said, you know what, why don't we do a print for both of us? I said, okay. So it's if you back the digital and on both of our ends, both of our campaigns, you get the digital version of the said print. Plus, also, if you back both physical on both of our campaigns, you get a sign from both of us, the physical print. So it's like these ideas come up during the campaign, and that might be flying by the seat of our butts. But sometimes, like, you have to go with the flow and all that. I mean, like I did a live sketch with Phil on another show, and I just said, like, people really liked it. So I just said, well, put this as a tier.
Hold on, I'm going to put you on the.
Yeah, it's really nice. You did a wonderful job.
Yeah.
Great
So
composition.
thank you.
It's not doing it with the comment up, I think is what it is. Hold on.
Oh, okay, hold on.
Yeah.
I'll put it down for a minute.
There we go. That's who. That should be. There you go. Hey, I love that one, by the way.
Yeah, it's an original. So I just said to Phil, like, if I don't sell it, like, you can use it as a campaign for X amount. I don't know what he's pricing it now. I told him the general price for the original, but whatever Phil puts up, and then, it's like we both share it. So it's sort of like I give Phil something in return for him sharing my stuff. Like, hey, Christie did this. She has this Kickstarter, go over here. So it kind of also changes up the content for when we do our updates. So it's not like, hey, back my Kickstarter, hey, back my Kickstarter, hey, back my Kickstarter, because
that stuff, it's it gets annoying. It's noise. It's just noise.
Yeah, like, you actually have to do it right. Like, there are times I won't post as much as other days, and I try to keep it at a maximum of 3 times, because if you just spam people constantly, they're like, okay, fucker, whatever, I don't care. But also what's good is to expand to Substack. And Substack is actually really good because you can import your MailChimp things, but it somehow seamlessly merges newsletter, blog posts, and interactivity.
And podcast is the new thing. They got a podcast management thing. Yeah, that was. This show is not about me. This is about you guys. But I will make the quick comment. I did it this week. I'm on day 8 of Substacks, right? Yeah. And it's something. I'm at something like 3,600 views. I'm doing better there than anywhere else. So I'm migrating over. I'm taking everything from Facebook over to Substack. But hey, let's jump over to Dan. I skipped on. So hey, Dan, the first thing is we want to ask you the question is when you notice a campaign going stale, how do you adjust to keep the interests of the backers?
That's a real good question. Doing a raffle in the middle of it for all backers, all your physical backers or something like that you can mail out. That something that'll fit inside a Gemini mailer, something like that. That always helps. I mean, getting out there and doing the podcast and things like that, I found that obviously has worked well for all of us, or we wouldn't be here, right? I guess. But that would be one of my suggestions would be do a raffle in the middle of it. I think for sure.
I've never done the raffle before, but hey, we've got to give a quick welcome to Pat Shinn. Thanks for joining us, buddy.
Hey, Pat.
Hello.
Long time no see.
The kid looks fresh. What can I say?
Hey, man, I got one for you. We were just talking about this. Kickstarter dead spot, right? You're 15 days in. You're hitting that spot where you don't pick up a backer for a couple of days, maybe even lose 1 or 2. What's the strategy, Pat?
Let's see. Get used to it. That's how the shit is.
Stokes said, and man, he had a pretty good one. He said, check everything before you go, man, because it's a little bit like leaving port. Sometimes it's too late. We talked a little bit about raffles and stuff. I've never done a raffle. I do know that it's against the terms of service. You can't actually, you got to be like cool about it. I don't think they say anything, but you got to be careful how you advertise a raffle on Kickstarter.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's one of those things where don't call it a raffle, right?
Right.
I'd say
free giveaway.
Creating an item where people are guaranteed to get something, but a few of them might get something extra. Something like that is cool, I think that's fine. Creating spikes that will be reliable to bring backers in during the campaign, or even just increase pledge amounts during the campaign. I've done before. I have structured my stretch goals. So
what do you mean by? Did you say increase pledge amounts?
Yeah.
What do you mean? Can you tell us a little more about that?
Yeah, I mean rolling out an add-on during the campaign. Yeah, like
gotcha.
For example, for stretch goals, I don't only enrich what people are already getting. I'll unlock new items. So I'll add a new cover by an artist that I know that people are going to be interested in during the campaign. So I know that, we train people so well at this point to be there on day 1, day 2, that we should expect those dead times. So working against those is smart by creating those, creating incentive for people to come during that time. But it's also a symptom of how great we've gotten at making those first the launch time hyped.
Right. Sure. So while you're here, let's switch over to art a little bit. Phil, I'm going to jump back to you. We talked a little bit about having high-end artwork versus what I would call, I don't want to be disparaging of any artwork, so I'm going to say more affordable artwork. Is that suitable for everybody? Because I don't think it's going to shock anybody when we talk about, like, we'll start with Phil as the example. He's hiring some top-tier talent, right? You're laying some bread out for these covers, right, Phil?
Well, I run conventions in New York, so I've made friends. So I get friends discounts. Otherwise, I couldn't afford it. They're expensive.
Okay, I got you.
It's called barter. It's called let's make an arrangement.
Gotcha.
Well,
I assume this is a sexual thing.
The truth, yeah. The truth is, when a name comes to my show, they're treated well and they make a lot of money. Then it's about money. So at the end of the day,
arrangement. It's an arrangement. That's the thing. It's like it's just essentially it's negotiation in business. It's not like, oh, you just work for me for free. It's like, well, you did this. Let's do this. I can. It's a trade-off.
Another thing I do is when I get these covers, I ask them they have to at least make one post to promote the cover.
To promote it.
Yeah.
At least one, I would think, for the kind of money we're talking about.
I mean, it's hard to demand from people that are big in the industry, but you tell them, say, look, as part of this, at least one post to just promote your cover and let them know about the campaign. I don't have the leverage or position to say you have to post once a week because then they'll tell me to go flip off. But
Sure, man.
So
absolutely. Stokes, how about you? In the production costs of it, let me ask the question a little different way. Ready? How about, do you definitely see a benefit between hiring professional level higher people, or is it sometimes a little smarter to shoot for the low budget and maybe be more profitable? What's your two cents on that?
I think the thing is about finding value, right? So theoretically, if I can find like an up and coming artist who does good, like maybe they're not perfect, but they're really good for like, I'm not gonna say it. Let's say 300, right? Let's put our thumbs on the scale.
Okay,
and then I'm going to a pro for say 600. I'm trying to find a balance, basically, like between. It's almost like you got Moneyball, right? Mm-hmm. It's like you're just trying to find the value.
Well, you have to know you're going to make that money back on that big name. Otherwise, there's no.
Well, and where I was kind of headed with it, I don't think that's always a guarantee that you're going to get that money back. Dan, jump in here. What do you say, man? How many covers you got over on Bigfoot Knows Karate?
On the current books that we're doing 3 covers, and it's the regular cover, our deluxe edition cover, and then the deluxe foil. I don't work with any big names that industry big names. I work with creators that are artists that have been supportive of the book. I'm supportive of their work, trying to give opportunities. And frankly, I can't afford to do anything. I can't afford a big name. Honestly, we're working on a budget here, and we try to bring quality artists to the table. We've been really lucky. I mean, our deluxe edition artist, our cover artist for this, he's turned around and become our.
Hold on, Dan, you're going solo. There you go, buddy.
There you go.
Oh, so, that's sweet. What do you got, like an embossed logo there?
No, that's just regular. And then he also did our deluxe cover for the did a wraparound for our deluxe number 2.
Yeah,
cool, it's beautiful work. And so he's now doing the interiors on our one shot. So, and this is his first interior artwork ever for a comic. So we're definitely experimenting at the same time, but it definitely, we're bringing something different to the table, and I think that's the exciting part about it.
Yeah, that's cool. Now, Christie, this is a little different question for you, right? But I do kind of want to know, like, what is your, like, first of all, would you ever be open to the idea of, having like a range of artists that you're paying huge amounts of money to make covers?
I wouldn't mind, but the thing is that with my IP Demon Bitch, the joke is that she's not even worth BOGO. So it's like what I do is that I get fan art from people that can actually draw really that do. I mean, I'm not saying I can't draw really, but that do draw that's different from me. So it's not just about like, oh, the flavor of me, flavor me, flavor me, flavor me. It's like, you know, I have Mog Park on there. She's like a really great illustrator, right?
Yeah.
And I just said, like, you know, just do this for fun. And she drew her all sexy and shit. So I don't know what the hell is that about, but you know, it made me laugh. But the thing is that I go for comedy a lot of the time. Like I have Lawrence Raw Dog Hubbard, who's a friend of mine, and he did like stuff with Demon Bitch, but it's like we make it fun. It's just like a fun thing we do. But I mean, it's like I don't give them that BS, like, oh well, you know, Fabio royalties, because I've been approached by that so many friggin' times. It's like so annoying. And it's like,
Right.
well, look at my script, and I'll try to look at the script, and it's really badly just I can't read the damn thing because there's like boxes everywhere and shit. It's like, what are you doing? And then the other one is like the royalty. It's like I don't BS them. I said, look, I can give you the book, I can give you the art prints for you to sell, but the thing is that a lot of them are my friends, so we somehow work it out. Like if I'm sitting next to Zora Lita, like we sit next to each other at Small Press at San Diego Comic-Con. So we'll play off of each other, like, because she's done fan art for every single Demon Bitch book, and she's the official artist for My Little Pony. So it's like I do that's like, oh yeah, she did this.
The two are so similar that it's a natural.
Yeah, it's like I just do like, oh yeah, she designed this, she did this. There you go. She's right next to me. She'll sign the fan art, and then I just let that be open so they can go and plug their own work. Or like go to Don Wynn. He did fan art for this. She's fucking a blender. Okay, here. And then I just leave it open for Don to do his magic as he signs it. They all understand that I will fucking cross promote them and sell them whenever I can at a con. And that's the thing. And it's like, that's what, and a lot of the artists understand this. And the artists, every artist that I've worked with, you know, sometimes I'll be like, okay, I'm dealing with this crap on Facebook because Facebook has been really annoying in suppression in general. Like it's been randomly like blocking my DMs and all that whenever I've talked to people, even friends. And I don't spam them like with a wall of text with my Kickstarter. But you know, with them, I'll have a wider reach. So I said, hey guys, like, you know, I'm getting this from Kickstarter. Could you please kind of push it a little more on this end? Not with the assumption that they're okay, buddy. Sorry, my ramen noodle cat is here. So it's like I don't assume that they're not doing anything. They do, but sometimes I don't see it on social media just by how the algorithms work. But I say, hey, can you guys push it a little more? You know, can you push it out? So it's sort of like I have this chest of minions to kind of like say, go forth, my lovelies, go do the thing.
You guys got some advantages that I don't have. This is a great question for Pat, by the way. Thanks for coming over, Pat. Hey, so you have tons of top artwork. Where do you stand in this? Like, I guess let me ask you this way. How do you gauge whether or not you're going to get that money back that you've spent on covers?
You know, I think that with social media and with Kickstarter, you can kind of see the numbers to an extent. You can't see how people do add-ons. So sometimes you'll see a cover that looks like it's bombing, but meanwhile, people are just selecting a base tier and then adding that cover around, so it's not.
Right.
So that's a bit, dicey, but there are artists who people ask for. You know, you see the names over and over and over, and you see other successful creators using them. And also, you just try things. Like, I tried lyrics on a cover, and people love her work, so now I go heavy on lyrics. I'll scout artists that I think will be stars based on how people respond to covers in a similar style, and I find that I have a pretty good eye for that. So it's a mixture of name and style, but it's to me, it's all about what I like best first and foremost, and then I go through my budget. I go through how the artist is trending, and if I want to, build an artist up, I'll lean into them. If I want to sort of ride along with an artist that's already trending, I'll lean into that too. For me, it's about putting that trending artist on the right title. There are certain artists who won't fit a certain title, but I do think that pairing with a bigger name artist is pretty important for covers on almost any book. And yeah, there are different ways that you could do it. I mostly I've met some at conventions. I've met some through other work for hire, like from my Zenoscope stuff. So no matter how you do it, I do think it's important to probably seed in one or two covers there that collectors are going to want to get, because otherwise you might just be, serving your fan base as opposed to growing your fan base.
Right.
Every issue I do, every new IP I do, I want to bring in people who wouldn't normally check my shit out. They'll get that cover, they'll read it, they'll go, oh, the kid writes. And then they'll start buying all my stuff. So
Right.
Creating opportunity for you to grow by pairing with those bigger artists is, I think, one of the things that is most overlooked by creators who are wondering why they're not growing to the next level.
That's a great answer.
Keep in mind, just being a Marvel and DC artist doesn't mean the following is there. You got to pick people that, like Pat was saying, when you do a little due diligence and you look at their responses to their work, likes mean nothing. Follows mean nothing. People can go through and like my page 100 times and, but are they really paying attention? You have to make sure that the name you get, without a doubt, has that loyal fan base that's going to come in and they're going to spend, because they just want that cover, like Pat said. And next thing you know, they read your book and now you've got a follower. So it's not just about how many likes they got or just because they have 500,000 friends. Are these people, you can look and see, how are they doing on Whatnot? How are they doing when they put out a cover for Marvel and DC? Are you seeing the numbers go up? So you have to kind of do that research before you just say, oh, he's a big name, I'm going to take him, because that's not always the case.
I can test him. Man, I'm so tired. I listened to Pat and hired an artist he worked with, and it was like a crazy high selling cover, and people would back it and then add it as an add-on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. Hold on, we might disagree with Short Circuit. If you're selling boobs, there's not much guesswork there. I would disagree. I think.
Oh yeah.
That's a take that's going to get Mr. Shinn there red in the face a little bit.
Yeah, get him revved up. Let's get this party started.
No, I mean, like, it doesn't get me revved up because there's not an argument there. It's just incorrect. There are campaigns that try to do that style and they can't do it. That audience is the most about collectability. That audience is about the artist more than anyone else. They are looking for specific artists to draw in a specific style, and not hitting that style is going to be a major detriment to your campaign. That take it's not even a debate. It's just blatantly wrong.
Yeah, I think we know our friend, your friend Chris Mose. I'm not a big fan, but he had his campaign that did really well. I was like, yo, look at this, check it out, and people were like, well, it's an SFW, like, duh. And then you look at it, you look at the interiors, and the interiors look better. It's a top 10 percentile of like indie comic interiors, and it's like your comic book doesn't look as. Let me chill. Most comic books don't look as good as this, So I think it's a real, it's easy to say, but in practice, like
nice,
I don't think it bears out.
I think it also depends on, like, for me, I'm just not really into that, but it's kind of funny because I sort of get into that with the prints, because it's like I just say, just draw Demon Bitch, guys, and whatever you want to do, and they'll draw her with big tits or something. I'm like, here you go, that's the cover, that's like the variant. I'm just like, all right, fine. I mean, like, Mog Park drew Demon Bitch all sexy and like voluptuous, so I said, all right, there you go. So that's the most popular print that I've seen. So
hit him with the sauce.
I need to chill, bro.
What's up, Blake? What's up, Blake?
Tim's a
Good
nice
to see you,
guy.
Hey, Blake.
Glad to have you here. Hey, so speaking of Kickstarter, man, we're getting close to the last chapter of the program here. Let's do a little Kickstarter shouting out. We're going to start here with Tragedy, right? So, Phil, if you can tell us, give us the quick elevator pitch, and also what type of customer is going to love this book? Who is this aimed at? Try and shoot for just about 2 or 3 minutes so we get to everybody.
All right, so the quick pitch is take Boondock Saints, Big Trouble in Little China, Kill Bill, and John Wick, and put it in a blender and then add more. It's an Irish assassin, deals with metahumans, cyborgs, Chinese mysticism, a lot of stuff, and it all works. It flows. It's an ongoing series, but it also has a human element at the core. It's someone that's on a self-discovery journey, facing a life they don't like. They're guarded, they're closed off, they've lost everything, and they're just trying to find their way back to a life, one adversary at a time. this is the collected volume of issues 1 through 5, the first story arc, and it's a 220-page standard edition and 280-page deluxe because I have a 40-page manga on the back. And the manga reads the traditional Japanese style. So when you read the Western style and you get to the back, you're going to start going the other way again to read the Japanese manga. We have covers by Chris Bachalo, Bill Sienkiewicz, and David Mack. And to be honest with you, this is just a celebration because a lot of indie comics don't make it to 5 issues. They don't, and by the grace of God, we've been selling well. And there's been a lot of buzz, and it's my passion, and this stems from when I was on a deathbed. So I'm proud of it. I'm excited. I'm thankful to the 50 people that have backed so far and those that are coming soon. And all I will tell you is this. Peter David, Howard Mackey, and Chuck Dixon said it was it's excellent writing. And Chuck Dixon has an intro in there. But if you don't believe them, just get a PDF, a sample size of anything Philbo Publishing does, and you tell me. I'm not here to tell you I'm a great writer, I'm a bad writer, I'm a good writer. You tell me, but you have to buy the book to be able to tell me.
That's a gutsy call. But I tell you, I think that book looks terrific, man. Phil, I wish you every success with it. Do a call to action. Viewers, that's, I switched pages on you. Sorry about that. I hit the button wrong. Should be that guy. That's Tragedy, chapters 1 to 5, collected volume. Go over right now and check that out. Man, I think that's a terrific project, and I admire your bravery for getting these top-notch artists. I want to tell you, when I ask these questions, it's not in any way, like I say, I'm not being disparaging of it in some way. To me, it's like I hope that I can attain that level, you know. But one of the things I'll tell you that I've been really interested in, and I was fortunate enough to meet Stokes at Baltimore. Intrusive Thoughts, man. Tell us a little bit about this project, the short pitch, and what type of customer is going to love it.
Absolutely. So it's about a kid. He's got depression, anxiety, sleep paralysis, and his sleep paralysis demon bites one of his classmates one day. So it's a mystery that's about like mental health, which, you know, a lot of people, especially in our industry, you know, our readers as well, the creators, they struggle with. And anybody likes like horror, anybody likes mysteries, will like it as well. Like really atmospheric stuff. It's definitely like one of my favorite series to work on right now. And you can see we got the 3 covers for the campaign on display.
I wanted to tell you too, I'm kind of looking forward to this. And let me tell you why. Like one of the subjects that we like to talk about sometimes on this program is mental health and creators and mental health. And I sense that this would be a perfect subject for us to talk about. So, man, I'm going to save that on the back burner for next time, Stokes.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I look forward to that.
Everybody hit notify me on launch, you know.
Jump in. That's Intrusive Thoughts number 2 by Stokes the Writer.
I just got notified. I signed up.
Appreciate you.
All right.
Yeah, you guys that are watching at home, please jump in. Oh, and hey, I got a good one for you next. That's my new pal, Dan Price, with Bigfoot Knows Karate. This looks terrific. Dan, give us the elevator pitch and tell us who's going to love this project.
Yeah, no, Bigfoot Knows Karate is, I think, Godzilla versus Kong meets Kill Bill with a twist. The comic, this particular issue takes place in feudal Japan. It's got a Monster of the Week aspect to it, with a really killer twist at the end. If you're coming in as a new reader, this will serve you well as a one-shot comic. If you've been reading Bigfoot Knows Karate, this will definitely give you a little extra that you didn't have before. So who would enjoy it? If you're a fan of action, adventure, psychological thriller, martial arts movies, cryptids, this is a good book for you. Kaiju, things of that nature.
Nice.
You'll enjoy it.
Sweet. Well, Dan, thanks for sharing it. Call to action.
Hey, thanks for having me. Yeah.
Bigfoot Knows Karate. Go get on that right now. Highly recommend.
Yeah, we just hit our first stretch goal. So we'll continue the tradition of the villain trading cards. So come check it out.
Congratulations, Dan.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Oh, my pal, Christie. Christie, can you tell us what is going on here? Demon Bitch, I Hate You All. It's on Kickstarter right now.
Yes.
Tell us, Christie, who is going to love this book? What kind of disturbed, deranged individual?
I think people that have had it Essentially, they're just kind of pissed off at the world. They're kind of annoyed at people that do the follow what's trending instead of like actually thinking for themselves. Oh, when I knew one backers, thank you so much. What it is that, oh, thank you. Yeah, she's a low-level demon from the 13th pit of hell, where people throw their dog shit in gum wrappers, and she wants to bring the second coming of Armageddon. But the first one never happened because she's a moron. She's based on girls I hate. So it's like based on my horrible interactions with people. And again, I actually don't have really horrible interactions, but I used to. And, you know, like what I observe of people who follow what's trending and go into all sorts of like crazy social media mobs and everything over everything, or hijacking a platform to talk about themselves. And again, not addressing the issues. And it's just, I look at that, I'm like, wow, these people are trash fire, you know? So it's just, I have a lot of material that I go from. And it was funny is I started doing it like as a pissed off comic book that made me laugh. So I'd laugh like an asshole while drawing it. But the thing is that I realized that it was actually probably deeper than what I set it out to be, which was really weird, but there you go. So yeah, people feel cleansed after they read the book.
Christie, I think you're awesome. I'm going to recommend to viewers to go check out what you're doing.
Thank you.
So next, let's jump over to my buddy Pat. It looks like he's going to get the last word. That's Only Friend with Pen #1, an NSFW romance comic.
Oh my God.
Oh, does that say 978 followers?
I think it's 98, right?
Jeez. Can that be right? 978 followers. Wow.
Yeah, this is the next release through my Cheeky Comics imprint. I actually have over there laying on the bed, looking very, very, very alluring. That's Steve J, the group editor of that.
Hey, what's up, Steve?
Oh my God. Oh my God. So yeah, Only Friends with Pen. It is about an online content creator who is trying to navigate the pitfalls of being in a romantic relationship while also doing sex work. She is a character spinning out of my Thirsty series. I did Thirsty, Cheeky, and Steamy, which were all, you know, collections of stories that tied together in sexy, exciting, fun ways. And now this is the breakout character from that, getting her own series as we sort of explore the idea of selling love and sex to strangers while also working on your own love and sex life.
Cool, man. This looks like it's going to be a smash, Pat.
I sure hope so. I sure hope so.
What do you think is the potential of this title on the Kickstarter?
I'd say
$1 million.
I'd say
$1 million.
Say low end 45, high end 55, probably.
Okay, good analysis. Good analysis. Well, thanks for taking the time to share it, Pat. And man, the Titan of Kickstarter sharing his wisdom with us. Thanks, man. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
So I will just say a couple of words in closing here. First, to the creators that we've had on the panel here tonight, I got to tell you, these are all people I really admire all your work, to the folks in this room. And I've been fortunate enough to even meet a couple of them. It's been a real honor. So thank you for coming on and sharing your wisdom with the viewers. So viewers, I'm going to put the links in the comments so you'll be able to go down there and back all these amazing products that you saw. Highly recommended. Highly recommended. And other than that, we're going to look forward to seeing you guys next week. Looks like we went right to our time. So thanks for tuning in. This is an episode of The Creative Cranium. See you guys next Friday.